Somebody in the United States reported to Twitter that there was a list of 40,000 Twitter accounts who were all BJP sympathizers or BJP supporters, Hindutva nationalists. And this was prepared and emailed to Twitter by an entity called DFRLabs. Now, this is part of Atlantic Council. This is based again in the East Coast. Remember, recently I had an episode with 𝗥𝗲𝗲𝗲𝗲𝗲 where we saw on Facebook 𝗥𝗲𝗲𝗲𝗲𝗲𝗲 was being misrepresented as carrying sales of arms and ammunition, and looked like, at least a few were caught selling it from Peshawar. Most likely the equipment that was left behind by the United States. I had the discussion. So go back to that. This one happened in June 2021, where they reported to, and I'm going to show you the slide deck. This was released as part of Twitter Files number 17 by Matt Taibbi. And I have a link here that you can follow, because if you look at Twitter handle timeline of Matt Taibbi, I think he deleted one tweet. So it kind of breaks after 5 or 6. The list is actually 21 tweets long, except the 6th, which is deleted, of course. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, and so on and so forth. I have given you the link of that. You can certainly read the entire chain. What I'm going to talk about here is the specific thing that relates to how 40,000 Twitter accounts were shown as being mouthpieces, voices of BJP in not only in India, but also in the United States. If you see some of the names that are there, you will just laugh. Here we go. The Global Engagement Center is the one that sponsors this Atlantic Council. Why is this important? I'll come to that at the end of this series, so stay tuned. On June 8, 2021, an analyst at the Atlantic Council's Digital Forensic Research Lab wrote to Twitter, "Hi guys, blah, blah, blah. Around 40,000 Twitter accounts that our researchers suspect are engaging in inauthentic behavior and Hindu nationalism more broadly. I will put this list also. Right now, there is so much load on Google Docs that it is not able to show. I was able to see some pages, so definitely you will be by the time you are up. So do look at that also, because it's possible your name might also be there." The person who sent it was a guy called Andy Carvin. Now, DFRLab said it was 40,000 accounts, paid employees or possibly volunteers of Bharatiya Janata Party. But there were many ordinary Americans too, with no connection to India, have never stepped outside of their own state. Here we go. I'll show you some examples. There was one whose name is Bobby Hailstone. He said, "I have no connection with any Hindu folks. I'm just a Reagan Republican in Connecticut. CT is Connecticut. That's a state." And another one, Twitter handle is Lady DI816, a Hindu nationalist. "I have never ever been out of this country, leave alone the state of New Jersey." Third one, "These people are insane," said Krista Wood. So this was checking that was done by Twitter. At least in this particular case, Joel Roth, the person who was the trust and safety chief, he spot checked, meaning like he randomly called some of these accounts to check and see if what they were saying was indeed true. So Twitter had some suspicion that DFRLabs may be used as a front to try and smear the Bharatiya Janata Party. I mean, don't stop there. It could also be tomorrow Hindus. It could be also Sanatanis. It could be anyone. And I'm going to share with you a personal experience that happened a few years ago with pgurus.com that you will find stunning how easy it is to shut somebody down if somebody sets their mind to it. So this is the link, the google.com link, and I'm going to post that link for you. So who funds DFRLabs? DFRLabs is funded by the United States government, specifically the Global Engagement Center. Who funds GEC? There is a chart. I'm going to show it to you. Just stay till the end of this video. When asked, the director of DFRLab, he denies that it uses its tax money to track Americans, saying the GEC grants have an exclusively international focus. Now take my example. I live in the United States. I'm a US citizen, but I write about India. I travel to India a lot. Sometimes I travel to other countries on my way to India. I might even go to other countries. Heck, it's a free world. So what does this line mean? Are they tracking me? I don't know, because there are some things that have happened that I can't really explain logically. Let's just leave it for a moment. The Americans are DFR list like 𝗥𝗲𝗳𝗲𝗲𝗲𝗲𝗲 are unconvinced its focus is exclusively international. So between that example and myself, see, these are all the possibilities. Who is being tracked and who is not being tracked. And what is there to track? I mean, as long as you don't lie or you don't knowingly lie, sometimes you might retweet something that might turn out to be a lie. But that's not your source. You are not the originator of it. And sometimes you might tweet wrong too. You forget to put a not when you had intended to put a not. So things like that. Is it possible that somebody broke through the Twitter login password, even two-factor authentication, and then got access to these accounts and then used some sort of bots to generate, and then once all that was done, then go back to Twitter and present the evidence? Look, here is a list of 40,000 people who appear to be sympathizers or on paid volunteers of Bharatiya Janata Party. It's as outrageous as it sounds, but this is what some people are up to. And I'm going to shed some light on who could be the DFRLab's persons, because there some names came out when that AK-47s and guns and ammunition were being sold by Facebook pages with the name Bajrang Dal. Hundreds of Facebook pages were created with either Bajrang Dal or BJD or something to do with BD and so on and so forth, just to try and make some mud stick on Bajrang Dal. So somebody is about to create mischief, but before they create the mischief, they are always saying, oh, victimhood, we are being discriminated. And then while they are doing all that, they also try to point the other persons as being extremist minded. This is the kind of misinformation that is being spread on the internet. In Obama's last year, that is 2016, the initial partners of GEC are FBI, DHS, NSA, CIA, DARPA, Special Operations Command, SOCOM, and others. So here you see these were all the initial funders of GEC, which in turn funded DFRLabs. I told you that I had a similar experience a few years ago. I don't know if our viewers remember, for a few days pgurus.com site was down. The complete site was down. What happened? One article of investigative nature that we wrote got copied by a newly created website with dates which are easily verifiable, and in that they copied this article from pgurus and then published it as if it's their own, then predated their article to make it look like their article was original and that we were copying it. Then they went and complained to DMCA and got and DMCA in turn gave it to my hosting provider, which in its infinite wisdom should have told me that this is the complaint. Well, they said they did, but I did not see it because it was in my spam folder. I can't help it. But instead of taking down that one article, even that was wrong, they took down the entire site. Then I started investigating. Then I saw that there was something hidden in the spam folder, took it out and read it. And the complainant was some very generic Indian name out of Malabar Hill, Mumbai. Just Malabar Hill. No street address, no flat number, nothing. And then there was a phone number also. I called up that phone. That phone number doesn't exist. So my hosting provider, without even doing basic checks of whether the complainant was legit or not, shut down my site. I had to go back and kick every step of the way and kick and scream and kick, saying that, look, this is a fake complaint. You cannot act on this. And I showed all the data. And also, the interesting thing is, this is where the dumbos are working. When they created the article, the creation date was actually the folder which ended up being the path of the article. You get it? So by the name there itself, they were giving it away that they had created this article at a later date. I mean, only after they saw the obviousness of it did they relent, and I got my site back. See, this kind of mischief happens all the time. You thought that running pgurus.com is fun? I say not. It's fraught with these kinds of possibilities. So what did I do after that? I now don't allow any viewers to copy anything from 𝗥𝗲𝗳𝗲𝗲. Because only if you can copy mine can you do this kind of mischief, right? Yeah, it's a bit inconvenient for people who would like to share an article from 𝗥𝗲𝗳𝗲𝗲 by just copying and pasting it on their WhatsApp circle. That you cannot do. You'll have to put the link now. I'm sorry, you have to do that because I am suffering for no fault of mine. I'm just giving you this illustration to tell you that fakeness is all over the place. On this one, especially that 40,000 names have been taken, the Indian government will need to really take some very strong action. I don't know how it's going to be because this happened in 2021, 18 months ago. DFRLabs may have a footprint. There's a guy who used to work for DFRLabs and whose name has been mentioned in some other such claims also. He used to have the, I think it was the Twitter handle, DFRKaul, K-A-U-L. And you know who it is. You guys can add in the comments because I leave it open-ended. I don't want to give the game away. You guys can do some research. If you go back and look at some of the other fake stories, you'll see somewhere a certain last name of Kaul associated with DFR. Did that person do the research here? I don't know. But most important thing here is how long are we going to let these kinds of falsehoods, untruths, rule us? And I think Indian government needs to really come and play on the front foot, not just ignore it or, be defensive about it. Thanks for watching. Please like, share and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to click on the bell button for notifications. Oh, by the way, I just did a Twitter Spaces on this because the Mamla was so hot that we had to discuss it. I got a lot of information from some of the luminaries who were on that Spaces session and everybody got to ask questions. We answered them just like we would if we were sitting in a coffee table and having a conversation over chai or coffee. So I encourage you all to join our Twitter Spaces sessions, and if you don't have a Twitter account, you'll have to create one account. I also encourage you to do that. After you create your Twitter account, you need to follow Sri Iyer 1 and you might also want to follow 𝗥𝗲𝗳𝗲𝗲𝗲 1 because sometimes the Spaces gets done by one or the other depending upon what timeline it is. Thanks for